Almost every ancient culture has a story of a great flood, a massive deluge that wiped out almost everything in its path. But why? Was there a real global flood, or was it just a shared myth among ancient civilizations? Let's dive deep into the most compelling flood myths from history and see if they hold any truth. From Mesopotamia to Mesoamerica, tales of catastrophic floods haunt ancient stories. These aren't just random tales, they're strangely similar, spanning continents, languages, and religions. Why did ancient civilizations, separated by thousands of miles, all write about the same event? Did our ancestors experience a real-life apocalypse? Our journey begins in ancient Mesopotamia, with what may be the oldest flood story on record, the Epic of Gilgamesh. Written over 4,000 years ago, this epic tells of a man named Utnapishtim who's warned by the gods of a flood meant to erase humankind's sins. Sound familiar? Utnapishtim builds a massive ark, gathers animals, and survives the deluge. After the flood recedes, he releases birds to find dry land, strikingly similar to the biblical Noah. But the story doesn't end there. Mesopotamian texts often link this flood to an actual event. Some scholars suggest that floods in the Tigris-Euphrates Valley could have inspired these tales, where sudden, severe flooding was common. Could a real, localized flood be at the root of this ancient myth? The flood myth then appears in the Bible, where Noah is chosen by God to save humanity. The ark, the animals, and even the dove released to find land echo the story of Utnapishtim. But there's a twist. The flood in the Bible is a judgment against sin, a theme that becomes central to later flood myths as well. What's intriguing is that biblical scholars and historians have debated if this story is purely myth or if it reflects a memory of an actual cataclysm. Some believe the Black Sea deluge hypothesis, an event around 7,600 years ago when rising sea levels flooded the Black Sea basin, may have influenced these tales. Was Noah's flood a memory of this cataclysm? Across the world, ancient Indian texts tell a story with familiar echoes. In the Hindu tradition, Manu, a sage, is warned by a giant fish that a flood is coming. Manu builds a boat, ties it to the fish, and survives the flood, later repopulating the earth. This myth, embedded in the ancient Satapatha Brahmana, has haunting similarities to both the Mesopotamian and biblical accounts. The Hindu flood myth is often interpreted as a tale of rebirth and cleansing, a pattern we see across civilizations. Are these shared flood stories just coincidental, or do they point to a universal memory of survival and renewal? The ancient Greeks had a flood story of their own. According to Greek mythology, Zeus sent a flood to punish humankind, sparing only Deucalion and his wife, Pyrrha. Sound familiar? They survive, repopulating the world by casting stones that transform into people. Meanwhile, in ancient China, a hero named Yu the Great saved his people from devastating floods, not by building an ark but by taming the waters. Yu's story speaks of a different theme: humanity's struggle against nature. Could these stories reveal cultural interpretations of a single ancient disaster, reshaped to fit each society's values? In the Americas, flood myths appear among the Maya, Aztecs, and indigenous tribes across North America. These stories often reflect a cycle of creation and destruction, with floods representing both endings and new beginnings. The Hopi tell of a flood that ended one world and led to the rise of another. Is it possible that floods served as a metaphor for change and renewal across ancient cultures? Or did these civilizations experience something so catastrophic that it left an indelible mark on their legends? Could these flood stories point to a real event? Some scientists believe that rapid glacial melting at the end of the last ice age caused massive flooding worldwide. The Black Sea deluge hypothesis even suggests that sudden flooding could have driven people to create flood legends as a warning to future generations. Others speculate that while local floods might have been common, shared stories of devastation became cultural memory. Could it be that we're wired to remember and retell such apocalyptic events, even thousands of years later? So, what's the truth behind these ancient flood myths? Are they memories of real, localized floods that shattered communities, or are they universal symbols of survival, rebirth, and the resilience of humankind? What do you think? Let us know in the comments if you believe there was a real global flood or if these stories are just powerful legends. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more mysteries from ancient history. And remember, sometimes myths hold grains of truth waiting for us to uncover.